President Trump is 76 years old. If the Department of Justice gets his way, he will die in federal prison. Just by one of these counts, conspiracy to obstruct justice, which has a 20-year maximum sentence. This is a disgusting mark on American history for the future to come by these bandits in the White House, by the Democrat Party that don't play fair anymore. They don't want to just win elections. They want to take control of this country. They want one-party rule. And they have used the Department of Justice and the FBI to get what they want. Merrick Garland is a mob lawyer. That's what he is. This is a document case. A document case where a president of the United States or a former president faces 100 years in federal prison. Is this some kind of a sick joke on the American people?
I'm sorry. He cracked me up at the Merrick Garland is a mob lawyer line, because in my opinion, Merrick Garland is a relatively feckless person who's not shown the the motivation to actually go after people and be tough on things. So the idea that he's a mob attorney is fantastic. But the other thing that was weighing in my mind as he was rambling on was, who the hell is still watching Mark Levin? Who is still watching or listening to Mark Levin? Anyway, obviously, right-wingers are mauling about Trump's indictment. And no, it is not just Mark Levin and the people over on the Fox News circuit. Right-wing pundits' responses to Trump's indictment, sees them either coping or offering up their own strategies on what Trump and the GOP should do. So let's first take a look at what Charlie Kirk recommended. Here's a tweet from him from yesterday. He tweeted, every Republican running for president should suspend their campaign and go to Miami as a show of support. If you don't, you are part of the problem. Either we have an opposition party or we don't. Go to Miami Tuesday and show solidarity, or we will mark you as part of the opposition. Now, this is so funny because he's discussing this in terms that you'll hear during a campaign if there's a national tragedy, like if a war started or if there was a massive earthquake and there was a lot of lives lost, but it's just one super criminal getting indicted for all of the crimes that he did do. And it's such a funny suggestion because you know that all of those other candidates are thrilled at the premise that they might get to run a campaign where Trump can't participate in the debates because he's locked behind bars. But so speaking of Trump being locked behind bars, several conservative pundits push this idea that Trump could pardon himself if he's elected and, apparently running from prison. So let's watch.
Trump could run on pardoning himself. For people that feel that this is bias, that this is part of a pattern, he could turn this on his opponents and actually run on his right to pardon himself. So if he's elected, even if he's convicted, he could pardon himself, or he can do so before a trial occurs.
Yeah, the good old pocket pardon.
It won't matter. There's nothing in the Constitution that says he can't be president from inside prison. And then once he gets there, well, he can pardon himself.
The power of the pardon lies with the president. And when he is elected, if it's in an orange jumpsuit or in a black business suit, the next thing he will do is pardon himself.
I like this idea that Trump is going to be running a Eugene V. Debs kind of campaign from jail, but that would be the only similarity between Eugene Debs and Donald Trump. But I've got Donald Trump's reaction here too. But first, Jeff, I want to bring you in on this. Do you agree with their strategy recommendations?
Well, I do agree with other candidates going down to Florida. They're not going to do it. I mean, Mike Pence, Chris Christie, Marco Rubio, even though Rubio's close and DeSantis is definitely close, they're not going to go down there. Like you alluded to, they should be celebrating parts of this. Now, in front of people, they can very much say something like, oh, this is an attack on our democracy, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think in their minds, behind closed doors, they're probably like, yes, get this dude out of here, because they know he's the head of the polls. They're making this out to be about Biden and Biden doing whatever it takes to get rid of Trump. But yeah, Republicans are silently cheering this on.
Yeah, Pence had a really walking the line kind of statement yesterday or the day before. He was talking about when he launched his campaign, how we need to preserve the sanctity of classified documents, while also saying that it was kind of a witch hunt and that Trump didn't deserve to go to jail. So there's definitely a line that they're trying to toe when it comes to still appealing to Trump's base. But the place where Trump is appealing to his base is apparently on Truth Social, which is where he released a statement. I don't know if I can call it that. He truthed about what was going on. So let's pull this up. First one from his Truth Social reads, page 1. The corrupt Biden administration has informed my attorneys that I have been indicted seemingly over the boxes hoax, which I think is terrible phrasing, even though Joe Biden has 1,1850 boxes at the University of Delaware, additional boxes in Chinatown, DC, and even more boxes at the University of Pennsylvania, and documents strewn all over his garage floor where he parks his Corvette, and which is secured by only a garage door that is paper thin and open much of the time, although I bet that it would be reinforced by several Secret Service agents. Nevertheless, continues on. Page 2, I have been summoned to appear at the federal courthouse in Miami on Tuesday at 3 p.m. I never thought it possible that such a thing could happen to a former president of the United States who received, I'm sorry, pause for a second. It just happened.
It just happened.
Right. It just happened.
It reminds me of that TikTok sound. Already did it.
Right.
Already did it. Like, you've already been indicted. So is the distinction, I never thought a federal indictment would come down? Because,
right.
State local level, yeah, dog, you've been indicted. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I was about to make a joke at the top. President's so nice, we had to indict him twice, but apparently he couldn't remember the first one. But yeah, let's pull back up his page 2 truth. He says, who received far more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country, except for Joe Biden, and is currently leading by far all candidates, both Democrat and Republican, in polls of the 2024 presidential election. And then in all caps, I am an innocent man. Although we just were reading the transcript of him saying, look, top secret documents, they're super secret. I shouldn't even have them. Come take a look. And as you pointed out, showing those to Kid Rock. But one last tweet from Trump, page 3. This is indeed a dark day. They're all there on the language for the United States of America. We are a country in serious and rapid decline, but together we will make America great again. I want to meet the person who tells Trump what words to capitalize, the first letter of what words to capitalize, because it's so seemingly random. But
I'm sorry, is it too late for me to add that it's a dark day because Quebec is burning and the smoke is coming out? Is that what he means? Probably doesn't.
Yeah, it's I don't think he's alluding to any climate disasters, but it is literally a dark day because of those fires. Yes. But so one famous person who has had some experience with the American legal system wanted to weigh in and give Trump some advice on what he should do. So without further ado, O.J. Simpson.
And even admitting that they weren't declassified. I don't know if it was bluster or not. All I know is that cannot help him. I'm going to share some advice that I got from some of the greatest legal minds of our generation, of my lifetime. F. Lee Bailey, Alan Dershowitz, Johnny Cochran, Bob Shapiro, the great Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld, Malcolm Laverne here in Vegas. The one thing they all told me and stressed to me, do not talk about the case publicly. Do not do interviews about the case. The Bakers threatened to quit if I did that. My point is, I don't know if Donald's lawyers are stressing this to him. If they're not, they should be fired and he should sue them. And anyway.
I hate to say it, folks, but some salient legal advice from O.J. Simpson. I mean, he's right. He should shut up, right?
OJ's gonna write a book called "If I Had Taken the Box and Stored Them in My Bathroom with the Chandelier." That's wrong. This is wrong. Sorry.
No, I mean it's great. Honestly, OJ likes to weigh in a lot from whatever resort he started living in Miami and on legal issues on Instagram. He's gotten pretty popular doing it. But I mean, this whole thing is become a circus. What do you think of Trump's response on Truth Social? Are you a truther? Are you on the Truth Social?
I am not on Truth Social. No, I get tweets about him from his Truth Social. Look, we knew he was in trouble because, as OJ alluded to or mentioned, he kind of talks in public and he gives himself away all the time. And so that includes the CNN town hall that you showed a few minutes ago. He gives himself away all the time. He talks in public. So when I see truths that are actually posted on Twitter, I'm like, yeah, something's coming down. He knows he's in trouble. This is going to be big. And he tells it himself all the time.